It is Thursday night. It's February 2nd, 2023. Happy Groundhog's Day to everybody out there. If you celebrate such a thing. Saw the groundhog, saw a shadow. So
I don't know what that means. I never remember what it means.
That I don't remember the exact amount, but that means winter is going to be longer than it would if you didn't see it.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, way to go, Phil. You little
way to go, Phil.
Groundhog. So, is what it is. Hopefully, that's 6 more weeks of enjoyable Boilermaker basketball like it was last night. I'm Tanner Lee, Evan Webb, my co-host here with me, Andrew Eiler. We don't think he's going to join us tonight. I don't know. Maybe he'll pop in at some time. Not sure.
Busy time to be an accountant.
It is. That's an understatement. Just a little bit. But how are we doing tonight, Webb? You still riding that high from all the Mason Gillis 3-pointers last night?
I'm pretty sure he's still hitting them. It feels like that was incredible.
It really was.
Your first time back in Mackey for the year.
Yes. It was great to be back. Thank you for inviting me. It was too long. It's been too long since I got back in there, but it was rocking last night, especially for a 6:30 game. 6:30 tips are weird. They're kind of hard to get to for a lot of people. But the Mackey crowd showed out. Close game till halftime, or a close game at halftime, 6-point game.
Obviously it was flip. I mean, when we played Penn State in the Palestro, we were down. I believe we were down 6 at halftime.
They were down 9.
Was it 9?
Mm-hmm.
But in a close game, then Purdue, kind of like we did with this game, kind of came out in the second half and just kind of took control and didn't give it up pretty much from the ball being inbounded to start the second half. So it was quite impressive. You wonder, as a team, obviously with the game coming up on Saturday, the big one, how would this team handle, and obviously Penn State, they're good, but they're not, it's not like they were right there with us at the top of the Big Ten standings. You wonder where their head's at as a team, especially with some younger guys, but it was almost business-like in the second half of how they were just able to, take care of business and just really kind of handled what they needed to do to get ready for Saturday.
Yeah. Penn State scored to start second half to get within 4, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be a dogfight. But then after that, something lit a fire under Purdue, or really Mason Gillis, and he just kept hitting 3 after 3, and I thought Penn State did pretty good on Edey. Yes, Edey had 18 points, 13 rebounds, even though it seemed like a quiet night for him.
Yeah.
But I thought they had a good game plan, attacking him from all different angles, but they just got lost guarding Gillis. See, I combined his name there, Mason Gillis, kind of like that. They got lost guarding Gillis multiple times, and he just made them pay. 9 for 12 from 3-point range. This was a guy shooting around 30% from 3-point range for the year. I never would have guessed he would hit 5 in a game, probably, his Purdue career.
Yeah, I would not have guessed if someone was going to break Robbie's record. I guess it was Robbie, Ryan, and Carson all had 8 at Mackey. If you were to ask me who was going to break on the scene, I would have said Lawyer, maybe as like a junior, at that point.
Right.
But not Mason Gillis coming off the bench, nevertheless. But hey, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. Obviously, we've seen in the past, especially last year, Gillis being obviously not a volume shooter, but a steady shooter, pretty consistent, very reliable at the very least. And we hadn't seen that this year. And it was actually kind of funny. I was reminded of this after the game, listening to the post game, because I listened to the pregame show and they were interviewing Coach Paul Lusk, and they were kind of talking, and they brought up Mason, and then even Paul's like, he's a good shooter. He just hadn't shown it this year, and he will eventually. And lo and behold, he showed us last night.
Riding down to the game last night, I about told the guys I was riding with that I think Mason Gillis is going to break out tonight, but of course I didn't. And even if I did, I would have never guessed we were going to get 29 points out of him, including 9 3-pointers made. I thought maybe 12, 13 points, 8 boards, or something like that. But man, if Purdue can have role players like that step up the rest of the season, just adds yet another element of difficulty to prepare for the number one team, the number one unanimous team in the country.
Absolutely, man. That's kind of what we're going to need to, let alone win on Saturday, but even just like make a run in the tournament, is we're going to need guys like that to, step up. Because obviously, Zach can get his, but when teams make it difficult on him, and you can't get 32, 38, 39 points like he has against Michigan State, we're going to need someone else, whether that's obviously, you look at Braden and Fletcher as being guys who potentially step up, but First has stepped up. He stepped up big in Michigan State, but then we need those bench guys between Mason, whether it's Newman or whether it's Jenkins, who's been playing well, that are playing better lately. That's what it's going to take to make any sort of run when it comes to the tournament.
What did you think of Shrewsbury's comments after the game? His opening statement kept it pretty short and sweet. Said, "Best team in the country, best player, best coach."
I mean, you gotta love Shrews. Hoping he takes a job outside the Big Ten so I can root for him more openly. And
Plus, it's not Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Even though I know Notre Dame football and basketball is different.
Yeah, I've always liked Bray too, so I've never really had a problem with Notre Dame basketball. But yeah, I mean, he's a great coach. Definitely probably one of the rising stars in the coaching. I mean, obviously, I'm also a little biased, obviously, with him being a former Purdue coach because you look at their record and all that. It's like it's not nothing great. They were, I think, either the last 4 in or last 4 buys last night. And I think they might be. I think Lenardi had said that a loss would probably bump them out. But at the same time, like look how long it took Pat Chambers just to get Penn State to the NIT. And Shrews has got these guys on the bubble as of right now. I think they can definitely get in. The way they shoot the ball. I mean, any given night they can put it on you in a hurry. I mean, they shot. What did they shoot last night? They shot 29 threes. I know, listening again to the pregame, Lusko says you can't let them shoot that many threes because they're going to make a lot of them. But they went, 11 for 29, so it could have been a lot worse. Only 30. I mean, that's 37.9, so it's still pretty good on that kind of volume. But they can, if it's a better shooting night, they're going to absolutely bury some teams, or they're going to shoot themselves right out of it. It's kind of you live by 3, die by 3 sort of thing.
Got a comment here from Ray on Facebook. Said Newman is due. He looked good in preseason. Has really struggled with allowing the game to come to him with the limited minutes. Yeah,
I think he definitely can. I think there was a stretch where he was playing really good, especially on defense. He played really good, I thought, with his length. I mean, when you look at the Michigan game, Painter put him in just simply because of his length, and then he gets fouled and has to hit 2 free throws, to kind of seal the game when he hasn't really been playing a whole lot. And credit to him, he knocks both of them down. But yeah, I think you can definitely tell when he's out there, he's definitely hunting for a shot, I think, just to kind of get himself going, which is understandable. But you kind of hope that it doesn't come back to bite you in some situations.
Maybe Saturday's the day.
I hope so.
Saturday's the day. I was shocked after the game to see that Mason Gillis has the most points for a player off the bench out of the major conferences this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's wild.
29 performance. Yeah, I would have guessed. I don't know. Somebody went off for low 30s or something, which he should have had 30. He missed the front end of the 1-on-1, and in the post game, he said he had no idea where he stood until PJ Thompson was giving him grief about missing that free throw.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean,
that'd be hard to do.
That'd be really hard to do. And even just like, I mean, obviously we weren't high D1 players, but I remember like when we played, you automatically you count kind of in your head. Like, at least that's what I did. Like, you just kind of keeping tabs of certain things, like as the game went on. At least that's what I did from time to time. So, I mean, I guess that's why I wasn't a D1 player in the end. But
well, for me, it wasn't hard to keep track of 3 or 6 minutes. So, I mainly shot 3, so I knew how many I hit and how many I didn't. But same thing with him last night. He was mainly shooting 3s.
Yeah.
I've always compared that to like pro golfers. I don't know how they don't look over at the leaderboard. Down the stretch. I mean, some of them do, some don't. I don't know how you couldn't, just to know, strategy wise where you stand and what you need to do. But kudos to him. I mean, that means he was locked in. Just a fun atmosphere last night. Fun game. Good win for the Boilers. A game Purdue could have easily overlooked before Saturday's game against Indiana. So now we took care of business. Still have that 3.5 game cushion, I think it is, in the Big Ten race. So now you buckle up and go down south to Bloomington. It's going to be a 4:00 showdown, ESPN. Dick Vitale on the call. Indiana is ranked, even though they dropped one at Maryland earlier this week on Tuesday. That place is going to be jumping.
It's going to be stupid on another level. Like, it's obviously, it was going to be, bonkers as it is, just because, they're better this year than they were last year. Obviously they had a little hiccup there kind of at the start of the Big Ten season when they lost 4 straight, but then they turned around and won 5 straight before losing to Maryland. So they've definitely figured some things out, unfortunately. I know we were kind of all laughing when they on their 4 games about how they were, not going to make the tournament anymore. And then they, sometimes it's about who you play, but when you play them, they got a limited Wisconsin team they caught Illinois on an off night on the road, and then kind of got some confidence and blasted Michigan State and Ohio State as well, which Ohio State is currently down 14 at home, start the second half to Wisconsin. They're just in free fall mode.
Put a fork in them, they're done.
Yeah, but then they turn around and lose to Maryland on the road. But they're they're a really good team at home. I mean, their last home game, Hooch Schifino had his own Mason Gillis moment where he hit. I think he also had 9 threes on a similar shooting night, so they can go off. I'm not feeling good about the game at all because it's going to be just. I mean, these freshman guys have played in some good environments between Michigan State, at Ohio State at the time. The Palestra was a great environment, but this is going to be on another level for them.
I don't know why. I mean, I told you on Monday, ask me when we get to Friday. We're not to Friday yet, but I'm still pretty confident. I mean, I expect it to be a dogfight. Don't get me wrong, but maybe it's because Purdue's played well at Assembly Hall the last 6 years or so, and the 2 losses they've had were single-digit losses, 4 points and 3 points. If I'm not, wasn't last year's 3 points?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're right there to the end, even if they lose. I know Indiana fans are still feeling very confident. I've seen some stuff on some shorts on message boards from it might have been last night. They're pretty confident, almost overly confident, which is funny. So you're coming off a loss and you're playing the #1 team in the nation. And I mean, I don't know, but it's going to be a dogfight, I think. But I think it will come down to, I think Edey's going to get his. I think Jackson Davis is going to get his. Will Hooch Schifino be hitting shots? Will Miller Cobb, for instance, be hitting shots? How will the young freshman, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, handle the probably most raucous environment they've ever played in?
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not really worried about Lawyer. He seems to really embrace the moment. I think Braden does too. I think he can get, as we've seen with some games, they're definitely going to bump him a lot and really pressure him. We've seen him get a little frustrated, but then Painter has sat him. Then Jenkins has come in, which Jenkins being he's played at Kansas, and he's played in some of these big places. So maybe he might be really crucial. Giving maybe Braden a blow to kind of maybe calm him down or get him to relax, if that's the case. But also you look at maybe something like Braden. Maybe does he play on a chip on his shoulder because he never got Indiana kid, didn't get an IU offer. I mean, obviously it's sounded like he had not really ties to Purdue, but his family had were Purdue fans to a point. IU fans would think that if he had been offered, he would have crawled to Bloomington rather than go to West Lafayette. Do you think maybe some of these guys, they play with a chip on their shoulder because they didn't maybe get the offer, or they didn't think that the premier program at the time offered them, or whatever it may be. But it's gonna be interesting to see.
I could see Kaufman Wren having a good game. I mean, got to think a majority of his friends are probably Indiana fans from where the part of the state he's from. And I mean, everybody's got to step up. But what I like is we've had plenty of guys on the team that have played down there already, including the junior class. I mean, they've not only played down there, they've played big minutes down there. Edey, Morton, Newman, Gillis.
Yep.
So they've been through the fire. I mean, and last year was their first test at the environment because the year before was COVID here. But they've played there. They're familiar with it. So that makes me feel a little more comfortable. But once again, I'm expecting a dogfight. I know the BPI on ESPN has IU, I think, a 53% chance to win. So technically, going by that, we're underdogs. Yep. But I'll be interested to see what the official spread is once it comes out tomorrow.
What do you think it'll be?
I think Purdue favored by 2 to 2.5.
Okay,
would be my guess.
I was thinking that, or like IU by like 1. I think it was my. It's going to be crazy. I think we'll put Morton on Hooch Schifino. I don't know. Just because of
he's got the length. I don't know if he's got the quickness to keep up with him, but that would make sense. Yeah,
he maybe put then Braden on maybe like a Trey Galloway, and then Fletcher.
That's a big height mismatch though.
But,
but we haven't really seen Trey post up too much. So
but he can get to the rim. He's shooting 50% from 3 this year. I mean, he's not taking a ton. He has, and he'll take 2 to 3 a game, but he's hitting them to the point, especially when he's wide open. He's pretty lights out, which is crazy to see. But
his Achilles heel is he fouls a lot.
He does, which is kind of that was kind of watching the Maryland game the other night. That was kind of I think what did Indiana was he couldn't stay on the floor, so we can get him in foul trouble. get their backup bigs in foul trouble, like
Mm-hmm.
Malik Renew if assuming he
Yes.
comes off the bench versus Race Thompson. Race Thompson has not looked great since he's come back from injury, which, I mean, the fact that he even came back at all is pretty remarkable, because that knee injury did not look good at all. But he's definitely not playing like he had been before injury. But I mean, it's going to be Kennedy stay out of foul trouble. Don't let multiple guys go off and kill you like it did last year. Control. I think really if we can control turnovers, that's what I go back to. Like, what makes me feel better about this game was, last year, I feel like Purdue was better, but we killed ourselves with just the stupid turnovers, especially like just how we had them when they happened. We built a lead and then we kind of gave it right back. Kind of feel like towards the end of the first half when they went on a run, and just couldn't get the defense. Couldn't get the stops when we needed them. So I feel a bit better about this year because we're better defensively and we seem to take care of the ball a lot better. But then I'm also like, crap, but this IU team's also better than they were last year. So
they are. If you remember last year, Ivy did not have a good first half, even got technical. He had a great second half. Rob Finney, of course, went nuts. It's the Rob Finney game, as IU fans look back and call it. And then Purdue still had a game-winning shot at the rim. Well, at the end it was a game-tying shot, but before that, Travion Williams had a great look up one, and he airballed it. So from about 5 feet. So Purdue was still right there.
I mean, even Ivy's shot at the end looked like it was. It did. It looked pretty good to tie it.
It did. So I don't know. I like what Mason said on post game last night. He said they remember last year getting the court rushed against them. They don't want that to happen again. So. I mean, I would think if IU beats Purdue this time, they would not rush the court.
I would think so.
I would think so, even though Purdue is number one.
Unless it's like a Kentucky situation, like where it's a game-winning shot, that you can't. So much just the emotion gets to you. But if it's I don't. If it's like they're up 2 or 3 and Purdue misses a shot, I don't think they'll rush the court.
I mean, they are ranked 21, even though. Well, if they do get Purdue on Saturday, they might stay in the rankings. Yeah, they might.
I think they would
fall a little, but they would probably stay in the rankings.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. It is gonna be interesting. Like I said, Dick Vitale's on the call, so buckle up and get ready for a lot of Robert Montgomery Knight references and even some Gene Katie references. Which just see Coach Katie's back on Facebook for everybody that might have missed that. So go give him a friend request and give him a follow. So nice to see Gene back because. I don't know if it's Gene or his wife who's actually using the account. I'm assuming it's his wife, but a lot of Purdue fans were kind of concerned because it kind of ghosted and it had problems with his account, so he had to create a new one. So I'm good to see Coach Katie back on there. Always looking forward to this game. I hate it, but I also look forward to it.
Yeah, it's like I absolutely hate this game. And then when we win, it was like, that was the best feeling. Like, that was the greatest game we've watched. But then when you lose, like last year was really rough. But yeah, it's one of those games where I don't look forward to it, no matter how good we are, no matter how bad they are. They've been at times it's always been a dogfight. Ranked matchups have not gone in Purdue's favor a lot. It's first ranked matchup since 2016, with the AJ Hammond's, mythical goaltending call.
Hit the rim.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the last time we played when we were both ranked. So hopefully we can start bucking that trend.
It's crazy. They've only played, I think they've only played 17 times since AB Poll came out in the 80s.
Like third time since 2000 or something like that.
Yes, third time since 2000, only 17 times. I'm like, that's crazy. But it's just, there's been stretches, Purdue's been the better program the last 6-7 years and Indiana hasn't. And before that, Indiana was really good. Purdue was really bad for a couple of years, and before that, Indiana was going out through the Kelvin Sanctions, Tom Crean era, where Purdue was really good. They weren't, and then before that, they had some good battles, but they just usually weren't ranked for whatever reason. Right. Their team. So it's a fun rivalry, but it's one I know we've talked about this when we were talking about the bucket back in the fall. We know we have family members that have went to IU. We have friends that have went to IU. In the state of Indiana, everybody knows somebody that's a Purdue fan or an IU fan. So it's just a fun rivalry. Here's a question I was pondering today, and I wanted to ask you. I want to know, who are your 5 least favorite sports teams overall? So, and for instance, IU basketball counts as a team. IU football counts as a team. What would be your 5 overall in order from 1 through 5?
IU basketball number 1.
I agree. That is number 1 for me as well.
And I think I may go Michigan State basketball number 2.
All right.
Notre Dame football is in there too, but I think just since I've moved away from Northern Indiana, I don't get it as much. Obviously where we're from, growing up, the news stations we get are all out of South Bend, so it's all we get is Notre Dame propaganda. But now that I've moved to the Indianapolis area, don't really hear about them. I mean, obviously, there's Notre Dame fans around, not nearly as obnoxious as they are in the northern part of the state. A lot of mine are college because pro teams I dislike. Like I hate the Packers, but at the same time, like college sports are a lot more important to me, so it's hard to sway that.
Well, and they've owned the Bears for so long.
They've owned the Bears. It's hard.
But that might make your hatred rise too. I mean,
so I was going to say IU basketball, Michigan State basketball, Notre Dame football, Indiana football,
Cubs.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna throw the Cubs on there.
Cubs
yeah. So I was like between Cubs and Packers. I was like, hear a lot more about the Cubs than I do the Packers. And then again, the Packers have just kind of owned Bears, so it's just kind of like I'm just gonna give in to that and hard not to respect their dominance over my entire life. But
that I don't have Michigan State basketball in my top 5, but I should. They're probably my honorable mention. They got to be close.
As a university, or maybe just Tom Izzo. I don't know how to.
No, that's a good one. I don't know why I've never even considered them. And they got to be right outside my top 5. Mine would go Indiana basketball 1, Notre Dame football 2, Indiana football 3, and those two are really close. Yeah. It's just mostly, I don't know, just something about the Notre Dame arrogance. I just can't stand it that they got their own channel on NBC. They're nationally televised on all their away games. Just, I don't know, their fan base. They lose a game early on in the season, they almost don't want to watch anymore. Yeah. That would be miserable to be a fan of. Then after that, I'm a really big NFL fan, a Broncos fan. So 4 and 5 go back and forth between the Chiefs and the Raiders. I'll probably say Chiefs 4, Raiders 5, because the Raiders just haven't been as good, and the Chiefs have beat the Broncos 15 straight times. And
so I was wondering if was the Chiefs because of their dominance and the Raiders just because of their fan base, because they're just
they're jerks. They are mean and just like to fight. I will never go to a Raider Bronco game ever again. It was not fun at all. But
no thanks.
So I have Carl here on YouTube says OSU everything. That's a good one.
Yeah, assume it means Ohio State, not Oklahoma State. Just
I assume it's Ohio State. Yeah, that's a good one. I
used to Ohio State. I hated the Urban Meyer era just because of who Urban was as a person. I don't hate Ryan Day. I think he's a pretty good coach. I think he's a really good coach. Basketball, I've never really had obviously, maybe if this was like 2010, I might say Ohio State basketball because they were we couldn't get past them for the most part. But since I like Chris Holtman, hopefully Andrew's not listening. But even though he may lose his job after this year, I don't know. Yeah. It's bad, but.
Ray's got the comment of the night, a very accurate fact here, in my opinion. Half the Notre Dame fans or IU basketball fans, they go hand in hand.
They do.
In the West. That's true.
They do.
They got those reversible jackets. It'll be interesting in the future when they play each other in football. I guess they can't lose that game as a fans, because if IU somehow wins, then they'll clamor that they're IU football fans. So it's
we come from that here.
Yes, we do. Let's see. He says IU basketball, Notre Dame football, IU football, Yankees. Thank you. Red Sox fan there. That's not surprising. Oh yeah, he was blowing up my phone in October when the Yankees fell apart in the playoffs. So I'd be interested to meet anybody that has an NBA team in their top 5. Just because I don't know too many really passionate NBA fans anymore. I guess I could see the Lakers. Not only because of the LeBron effect, just because they've won so much historically.
I mean, there may be some Pacer fans, or maybe the old school Pacer fans that maybe hate the Knicks just because of that era. It's just some Pacer fans hate the Bulls just because Jordan kept getting in Reggie's way. Or anybody who hated the bad boy Pistons. Yeah, that's
when the NBA was good stuff. Man. Yeah, that's when. Now I
guess it's people maybe hate the Warriors just because of what they did with their dynasty. But
Warrior fatigue, maybe.
I love them. I love Curry. I love their brand. NBA just kind of where we're at. It's just not the same.
Nope, not until they bring back the Seattle SuperSonics. then we'll be talking. So no, it's just an interesting question I like to ask people who I like to kind of gauge their fandom a little bit. But you're right, college sports so much easier to get into the rivalries and everything.
Mhm.
Pro sports, they kind of, I guess Burrow and Mahomes is starting to organically happen. I guess a lot of times pro sports, the media has to kind of push it, but that one's starting.
Yeah, and then also with pro sports, you're much more likely to have a guy leave one team and go to the other team. Where college, you don't really see that. I mean, football maybe just because there's so many. We've seen some guys from IU come to Purdue.
True.
The day it happens at basketball will be a wild time, just because obviously.
I bet we'll see it eventually.
Oh, we will.
Way or the other,
I'm sure we will. Yeah. But. Yeah, I feel like with pro sports, it's just it's harder because guys are always every offseason can be a complete rebuild for some teams.
True. That's a good point. And coaches can leave teams and go to other teams. Well, they can do that in college too.
Yeah.
Which I was talking last night our way down to the game. We got to talk about college football a little bit. I was saying I'm gonna have to root for Louisville against IU and Notre Dame at least next year. So 100%. I don't know. I
didn't realize they played Notre Dame. Oh yeah, yep. ACC. Duh.
ACC. Yep. It's at Louisville. So, yeah. But besides that, I don't know. I'm very thankful for what Jeff Brom did the Purdue program to turn around, but part of me is still gonna have a tough time rooting for Louisville.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, any more thoughts going into Saturday's matchup?
Probably didn't want to watch the game. Just it's gonna be such a nervous wreck.
Well, and your fiance is an IU grad, and she likes IU basketball, and she watches the games. I mean, she is a fan.
Does,
so,
yeah. Although she's been a little jaded from the archery era, so she's still like when things start to go south, she's definitely quick to be like, "Oh, game over." Or she thinks I'm always in reverse psychology, which I'm not. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I am. But so like she's like, "Oh, we're gonna get blown out." I'm like. Absolutely, you're not like if you guys get blown out, I am running laps around the house because it never happened in my lifetime for us to go down there and just absolutely wax them. It'd be great. I would love it. I'd love a boring game if we were just killing them by 25 the entire game. But yeah, it'll be a tense situation. I've already told her like regardless of what happens in the game, we're not. It's Saturday night, not doing anything. Like I may change my tune if we win and be happy. Let's go out. Let's go do something. But if we lose, I'm gonna be a miserable SOB the rest of the night.
Yeah, no, it's funny how sports can do that to us. I mean, some people can say you guys take sports too seriously. We probably do, but
we do.
We've grown up around it, and it just it is what it is. I don't know. It's hard to explain to somebody who just doesn't understand.
I mean, when you put the time, I mean, obviously it's yes, we're watching and all that, but like this, like when you put in like the amount of when you only have so much time to do certain things in your life, and you invest this much time into one thing or a few things, I guess, or investing money into tickets, buying the merch or the the apparel, and then things don't go your way, I think you're okay to be upset. Now, obviously, we've probably all done some things that we regret doing when we're mad and whether it's
I've broken a phone before.
Broken a phone.
Thanks, Blake Griffin and Jim Burr.
Scaring my dogs last year, screaming my head off. There are things like that. Obviously, you can take it a little overboard, but I mean, it's like everybody has their things that they get passionate about, and ours just happen to be sports, and it maybe it's a bit more socially acceptable to some people. But I've also talked to some people that's like, I feel like the worst thing you can tell me when I'm like pissed off at a game is like, calm down, it's just a game. I'm like, just shut up. Like, it makes it so worse. Yeah. But
that's why I've always been a proponent of it's okay for sports fans to say we when talking about their favorite team because like you said, we invest time. And I know one of our good buddies will go to his grave in disagreement with me on that, but because we don't impact the results on the field or on the court or whatever, but like you said, we invest time and money and energy, and without the fans there is no team. There are no organizations, there are no players.
Even in like college sports, even more so, especially because you got at least for us, for like we're alumni, we went to the school, like that's part of the reason we love it so much, is because we spent time there. We were students. We obviously so jealous of the paint crew and the football kids in the Rossi Brigade for what they get to watch this year. Because when we were there, we at least for you, well, you got to see some really good basketball your freshman year with the end of the Baby Boilers. For me, my junior year was last place in football and basketball, not fun. But I mean, you remember that and you go through it, and then remember your time fondly as a student, and then now again it's still your school, and having that you're meeting someone out now in the professional world of like talking to another Purdue, hey, when did you go to school? I'm for whatever reason, I always run to people who went to Purdue, like who graduated in 2001. I'm like, wow, you had a really fun senior year with the Rose Bowl and a Elite Eight, essentially. So that's always, you bond over the sports, the sporting events that happen during your time as a student. So yeah,
absolutely,
it's what makes it so much better. And I guess maybe that's why for pro sports I'm not as invested, because obviously you are probably more so than me, but like, we're from a small town in Indiana. I'm not a Colts fan. I'm not from Indianapolis, so it's not like it's my city, my team. It's just like I picked the Bears because that's who my dad cheered for, and I'm gonna go roll with it. Obviously I love the city of Chicago, but it's not like I have no ties is out from some family, but it's not like I was born and raised there and saw the city rally around a team and all that stuff. So that's what makes it harder for me to cheer for pros teams.
Well, even my Bronco fandom, I have Purdue to thank for that because of Kyle Orton. So
right.
I mean, it's crazy. I'm probably the only person in the world that can say that. But that's my dream guest for this podcast, by the way, is to get the neckbeard on here. But
absolutely,
he did do the Life is Purdue podcast this year. So never know. Never say never.
Never say never.
But any other thoughts about Boiler basketball? Also, good luck to the women this weekend. They're hosting the Lady Hoosiers on Sunday, the third sellout in program history and first since 2000.
Yeah, that's wild. It's awesome.
Yes.
Tall task. The Lady Hoosiers are a really good ball club. They've lost one game all year. First place in the Big Ten. I saw the standings, which is weird because they're 11-1 and Iowa's in second at 9-1. I'm like, how have they played 2 less games already? That must have been a COVID situation. I'm not sure, but that's another team that's balling out. Caitlin Clark, she is incredible to watch. But yeah, I mean, Katie Gerald's 2 ranked wins last week. Obviously, I know one of them was a kind of a reeling Ohio State team, but still top 5 road win ever in program history, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So she's definitely got that program in the right direction. Hopefully, I mean, they played them tough last year at Mackey. I think IU might have been down a player, but I mean, hey, packed house. Hopefully some Mackey magic can help them out.
Yeah, she's got the program so far ahead of schedule in year 2. It's ridiculous. Bright future ahead for the Lady Boilermakers. And then football, not a whole lot of news. Signing day was this week. Not a lot of surprises. I mean, Gilbert, Divas lineman, 4-star from Cathedral, flipped to Kentucky. Was reading about that today. Last week, it was assumed he was going to go to Kentucky. Then when Purdue got him in for a visit, it went so well. Purdue thought they had him again, and then flipped. So I don't know. I don't know if he was ever fully committed to Purdue, even with the previous coaching staff.
Even like when he committed, it still was like, it seemed really wishy-washy, like. And then, I mean, it's obviously, it's a bummer, losing an in-state kid, especially if, that highly ranked. But I think, it sucks, but I mean, it's the beauty about the transfer portal. I mean, there's going to be some openings, I'm sure, on this roster after spring ball. So we can, as will a lot of other teams, so we'll be able to hopefully maybe get someone that can maybe be more of an immediate impact player right away.
Yep. Use the transfer portal to plug holes. Not build the whole team around like some programs have done.
Yeah.
Particularly basketball, not so much in football. But I did think it was interesting. I saw Colorado football with Coach Prime. Of course, they I think end up with the 21st ranked recruiting class for high school, but their transfer portal class is like 1.
Holy crap!
Yeah, because they got I think 2 or 3 5-star former 5-stars that flipped from different schools. So,
yeah. To give you an update for some scores as we sit here currently at 8:37 p.m. Eastern time. Ohio State's down 12 with 9:47 to go, and Michigan's running away with it at Northwestern 55-39. So they are.
That felt like a must-win game. Not only, I mean, I guess you could make a case for Michigan, but I thought it was a must-win for Northwestern because they're starting to.
Their February is tough.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me pull it up. Yeah, because they've got Michigan, then they're at Wisconsin, at Ohio State. Then they host Purdue, host Indiana, host Iowa, at Illinois, at Maryland. Like, that could, I mean, you could do them in.
I know Lenardi right now has 8 Big Ten teams in his tournament bracketology.
I can't see
I could see 6.
Yeah.
Probably 7, but I could see
I
6.
feel like there's going to be just so much cannibalization that, someone.
Carl on YouTube.
Carl, you from Michigan?
Says OSU down equals great day.
Is this the Michigan guy we had in our pot? We had a guy.
No, that was.
Yeah, I know.
I remember that guy's name.
No, I mean, yeah, I just feel like with like just the way, I mean, you look at the standings right now as it sits before all these games went final. You've got 2 teams with 7 wins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams with 6 wins, 2 with 5, 1 with 4, 2 with 3, and then Minnesota with 1. Purdue's got 11. There's just so much, unless like a couple teams can kind of separate themselves. It feels like gonna be just a lot of cannibalization to where you've got a lot of between maybe 9-11 to 11-9 win teams. That you wonder, is that going to impact, the amount of people that, or the amount of teams that can get into the tournament, especially, depending on what other conferences do. Carlos from Lafayette. All right, let's go.
Just despises OSU. He says Purdue all the way.
Respect.
I can respect that big time. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the Big Ten's gonna have a lot of 7 to 10 seeds in the Big Ten in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Really interesting. Score prediction for Saturday. Got to do it, and player of the game. Got to do it.
Oh, I don't feel good at all. I mean, I've been telling people I would not be surprised to see an IU double-digit win. To be honest with you,
I would.
Yeah. Because I feel it's just such a buzzsaw. Like I feel like it's just a buzzsaw type environment. Like I don't know. I mean, it makes me even skeptical. Like I was terrified, 2 years ago when they still had Archie on their team and we took care of business. But I don't know. I just feel like I just have nightmares of Huchifino, like everybody going off from 3. Edie getting in foul trouble. I'm assuming just the worst the worst. But I think in the end, Purdue's playing pretty good defense lately. I was hoping we could hold Penn State to less than 60 last night, but they got a late bucket. Purdue 72, Indiana 66. Player of the game, Zach Edey asserts his dominance as not only the National Player of the Year, but Big Ten Player of the Year, and we can shut this conversation down.
And, I wonder if your PTSD or an anxiety of Assembly Hall, I mean, for the longest time growing up, we didn't see Purdue win Assembly Hall. I think it was, at least my recollection, the 09-10 season was the first time I saw Purdue win there.
Yes, it was Robbie and the boys, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But since then, and then starting with the one of the AJ Hammond's years, I get my years mixed up. Since then, we've done pretty well down there.
Yeah, so, I don't know if it's just me trying to cushion myself. So like, if we just like, hey, okay, you predicted this, like, or you thought it was going to happen, like, don't get too upset. Even though I will be furious if it happens, but it's just, and I think, and again, I know we've talked about this internally in our text messages about like trying to buck this mindset, but it's like I'm like,
I know,
God, I wish we weren't number 1 going into here, because it just makes it that much worse if we lose. Like as Andrew said, like when number 1 loses, it's headlines everywhere. If number 2 loses, it's there's a segment on SportsCenter and it's a little blip on the bottom of the screen. But when number 1 loses, it leads SportsCenter. Not that everyone watches SportsCenter anymore, anyways, but it's headline news everywhere. But we got to embrace the new mentality of being number 1 because it's happened and we're unanimous. So
it's happened back-to-back years, happened twice this year. I mean, it's
play like it.
I think Purdue fans just got to have good things happen and they'll get used to it. Maybe a win Saturday changes a lot of people's mentality. I still think just get to one Final Four, it switches the mentality of everybody. So,
yeah, I know if we can get out of Assembly Hall with a win on Saturday, it's going to change a lot of thoughts on what the season could potentially be. Not like Indiana's. They're playing well right now. They're a little inconsistent, I think, to be considered, a Final Four contender. They could be. They have the talent. They've got, when you look at both rosters, they've got Huchifino's a 5-star. Trace was a McDonald's All-American, 4 or 5-star, depending on what search you looked at. Malik Renew, 4 or 5-star, depending on who you looked at. Tamar Bates was a 5-star on some services, committed to Texas, decommitted when Shaka left. So they've got more 5-stars than Painter or Purdue's ever gotten in the history of the program on one roster. So they have the talent, but I think we play as a better team. But if they can go in there in that environment with that team, we can start talking some bigger picture stuff. So I'm trying to avoid.
That's the thing, though. More years than not, I feel like you look at the rosters on paper, and Indiana has the more talented roster.
Oh yeah,
but Matt finds ways to coach circles around them.
Mm-hmm.
Which once again, that's why we're blessed to have Matt Painter as our head coach, because I really don't think there's too many better out there.
Yeah.
So And the guy deserves a Final Four. Well, he deserves more than that. He deserves a national championship, but he deserves a Final Four as a starting point. So, for my prediction, I'm going Boilers 77, Indiana 69.
That would if we can like the last like minute just be like, all right, this is done. Like that would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
we'll see.
See what Carl says here on YouTube. He says the team is different, embarrassed to lose, and it angers them. Purdue 78, Indiana 64. Sign me up.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Yep. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. At least it's 4:00. We have a little bit time to relax Saturday before the game gets going. So. Evan, you are frozen on my end. Now you're back. I got you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not okay. Yeah, it was my computer was freaking out for a second.
Oh, you're back. You're back. You're a little pixelated, but I got you. I got you. Can you hear me?
You got me?
Yep, I got you. You good?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry. Yep, I got you. No,
sorry.
No, it might not be you. StreamYard's been having issues this week, so I've seen other podcasts that have been struggling on StreamYard, so it might not be either one of us. Carl says, fan since 1965, never seen anything like this.
Wow.
He was around for the 69 run and mount. So
I sounded that.
That's saying something. So,
speaking of which, we can change up with the jerseys we had on Sunday.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You read my mind. So, they're my favorite uniform. My favorite uniform set Purdue has currently.
Yep, it's everything we've wanted. Great video to introduce them with Mount there. Aside from the fact that he was wearing a blue Under Armour pullover, but hey, Mount does what Mount wants to do. But yeah, they were absolutely gorgeous. They look great, played great. I hope we wear them multiple times this year. Yeah,
we wore the last throwback quite often, so I think this will get worn quite a few times over. I think the current, I don't know, Boiler Uniform said something about this current set of jerseys should last the next 5 years. And I believe what he says because he is a great account to follow on Twitter. So.
Kind of seems it's gonna be the trend. I mean, we got last year's we just finished up and we got those, kind of middle of the Hammonds era kind of. I remember because they wore those. We got those with when Raphael and Hammonds were, I think, juniors or something like that, and then they lasted until obviously this year. So,
yep. So, yeah, they were awesome. We've been wanting a script uniform for a long time and exceeded my expectations. And the presentation video is pretty cool too.
Absolutely.
I don't think Braden and Fletcher are going to win Oscars anytime soon, but still.
We give them time.
Still fun. Carl says saw Mount with ABA Pacers at Fairgrounds Coliseum, age 12 at the time. Now that is cool. That is really cool.
Fairgrounds Coliseum, wow.
Throwing it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, if you're not sure what to eat, 4 o'clock's a weird game time. It's past lunch, but it's early for dinner. But during the game, it's going to become dinner time for most. Consider getting yourself some Mad Mush. If you use promo code BREAK5 in all caps, BREAK5, you can get $5 off any order over $20. Or if you go in location to pick it up or to eat there and watch the game, just tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you. You can also get $5 off your order over $20. And when it's February, like I said, February 2nd is Groundhog's Day. We got a new pizza of the month, which this month it is the chicken cordon bleu, which I probably don't have to go over the ingredients for most of you because you know what chicken cordon bleu is, but I'm going to anyways. It's Swiss cheese topped with chicken, ham, bacon, and mozzarella cheese, served with a side of blue cheese, starting at just $14. So get yourself 2 of those and you are set, or just get yourself 1 and a cheese stick. That's what I recommend. Got to get yourself a cheese stick or 2 or 3. and you'll be good to go. And that's Mad Mushroom, of course, right there on the campus of West Lafayette. And they also have 2 other locations in Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
Their newest location just opened up on Sagamore Parkway, so go check that out if you haven't already. Great food, great people. Mad Mush, feed your head. Tell them where they can get some boiler gear for the game, Webby.
Absolutely. You can head on over, whether depending on if you're in Indianapolis or if you're somewhere else and you want to get some good, comfortable clothing, head on over to the shop. Would be in person. They've got 1 location in Broad Ripple, 1 in Carmel, or obviously they've got an online store, theshopindy.com. Great shirts. They just released 2 shirts for when they released the script jerseys. I was going to tweet from our account, gonna tweet at them asking, "Hey, we're getting shirts for this," but I was like, you know what? Give them time. They're gonna have something. And then sure enough, like an hour later,
they're always on it. They're always on it.
Look great. They've got a white, and then I see what's really cool is they've got what would have been the away gold from back in the old gold back in the day for the Mountain era. So great looking shirts, and they pick one up. They've released a couple of things as they actually made the shirts that the team was wearing last night for the Project 44. I thought that was really cool. Really cool to see them doing things like that. Starting to release shirts for Indy 500. May's right around the corner. It's a big time for them, exciting time for them. Great quality shirts. They've got hoodies. I was actually wearing the Purdue drum script hoodie last night at the game. It was very warm, but it was worth it. It was very warm at Mackey.
Well, it was cold outside though.
It was cold out. It was perfect. And then I didn't want to take it off when I got at Mackey because I was very comfortable until the game started. Then it's fine. Look good doing it. Drinkware, sweatshirts, shirts, hats, stickers, whatever you got, or whatever you need, they got it. Theshopindy.com. Use promo code BREAKDOWN for 25% off your entire order.
Yes, sir.
And actually, they just released a new thing. They've got kind of a kind of like a rewards club. I'm going to pull up here so I don't mess it up. Where'd it go? So they now got the shop rewards. So obviously doing different things, you get different points. Different points give you different more rewards. If you decide to get 200 shop points, if you place an order, you get $5 points for every dollar you spend. Following them on Twitter, following them on Instagram, get you points. Like them on Facebook, sharing on Twitter. We're gonna get a lot of points. I'm sure I'm sharing on Twitter. Celebrating a birthday, if you refer people, you get 15% off coupon. They get one and you get one. So
no excuses. No excuses to get some discounts. That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. So sign up. Great people. Purdue, actually the owners are Purdue grads, so Why not support them? There's a lot of great apparels, clothing apparel lines out there now, kind of promoting Purdue stuff. But this one happens to be boiler owned and operated. So.
And Evan did an interview with Alex. If you want to go check it out wherever you listen to your podcast, which, by the way, if it's Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give us that 5-star rating and a review. That really helps us out. We'd really appreciate that. And also, you can follow us on all social media, like our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BoilerBreakPod, and subscribe to our YouTube page. We're always doing these podcasts live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Then they come out on the audio platforms the next morning. So appreciate all the support. We love doing this. Any closing thoughts, Webby?
Just win. Just come out with the win on Saturday. I don't really care how we do it. I don't care if it's 30-28. Like,
boy,
God. I mean, it's somehow with a 2019 game with Carson. It was like 49-47, something like that. Like
it was in the 40s.
Awful.
It was ugly.
It was awful.
Matt Harm's game.
Matt Harm's game. Yep. Just win, baby. Just win. Like the great Al Davis. Just win, baby.
See, come on. Raiders with the IU episode. Come on now. I never gave my MVP, by the way.
That's true.
My MVP is going to be, I'm going to ride the hot hand this week, Mason Gillis. Right. I'm not saying he's going to hit 9 threes, but he'll hit 4. He'll hit 4 threes on Saturday.
I like that. That'd be huge. Yep.
He's going to turn into the new sharpshooter for Purdue. So let's boil her up, hammer down, beat the Hoosiers.
Boil her up.